Sometimes you just want to stay private. And if you've ever done anything with banking or with cryptocurrency exchanges, or really anything financially related, you probably know that normally you need a KYC requirement. And you probably know the KYC stands for Know Your Customer, which is a procedure where exchanges are required to identify their clients by doing verification on documents such as home addresses, phone numbers, passports, IDs, driver's license, and those types of things. However, by doing this KYC, it also means that you're not able to buy or sell Bitcoin before giving out all this valuable information where it could be accessed by governments or hackers or really anybody else who can get in there who wants a peek into your private business. But it is possible to buy Bitcoin and other cryptos without giving away that private data. So today on Renegade News, I'm going to give you a couple of those ways. Welcome back to Renegade News. I'm your host, Glenn Kowalski. Every week on this channel, you'll hear the latest news, strategies, and tactics for breaking free from the system, paying less tax, and living anywhere in the world that you want. So let's jump right into it. Obviously, KYC requirements means that there's more information being centrally shared and stored. So therefore, it becomes more vulnerable to attack. That means that any hacker could see everything about you, and they can also see how much Bitcoin you bought, when you bought it, your banking information, where you withdrew it, all your coins, and so much more. So it really puts you in this very vulnerable position. But that's really only one of the few reasons that you might want to stay private and not use these KYC exchanges. The only one who's ultimately responsible for your financial freedom, your security, and your privacy. Using non-KYC Bitcoins and other cryptocurrencies is really not a choice anymore, it's a necessity. Back on April 5th, 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt, the president at the time, decided to forbid U.S. citizens from hoarding any gold coins, gold bullion, and gold certificates. That was known as Executive Order 6102, where all of everyone's gold was confiscated at a price dictated by the government, and it became illegally to own those types of any type of gold. Today, if anybody wanted to exercise that same thing against you using Bitcoins, any of the coins that you purchased with your own name would be an easy target to confiscate. And there'd be no excuse that could help you in that kind of situation. And because the Bitcoin blockchain is completely open to tools like chain analysis, they would know exactly what address you were holding all your coins. And therefore, having non-KYC Bitcoins is simply a risk that you cannot afford to take. Now, all that being said, let's look at some of the options that you can use to get your new Bitcoins without needing to take those huge risks with your personal private information. The first and the easiest is to use Bitcoin ATMs. And that's probably one of the most approachable methods there are. And Bitcoin ATMs now exist in most countries. And they really only require usually at most a soft type of KYC which would turn out to be really just your phone number at the absolute maximum. Sometimes you don't even do that. And if they do require a phone number, you can get a prepaid burner phone and use the number for that. Now, generally, the problem with this method is it doesn't allow you to make these huge transfers or purchases. Usually you're limited to about $2,500 at a time, but it's still regarded as one of the best and the most easy ways to get started with anonymous Bitcoins. In most cases, the way it works is that the Bitcoin ATM is going to scan the code from your wallet directly and transfer your coins, or it can even print out a wallet, a paper wallet for you that has both your private and your public keys on a single piece of paper and then print that form out for you. And then once you have that, then you can use to, spend those Bitcoins wherever you like because it's not ever attached to you. It's really easy to find out where the nearest Bitcoins ATMs are by looking at websites like CoinATM, Radar, CoinATM Map, Bitcoin ATM Map, and a few others. The next option is to buy Bitcoin in person. And that's one of the easiest ways and probably the best way to get really large sums of Bitcoin without identifying yourself. And it's pretty old school. It's your face-to-face transaction between two individuals, one who has cash and one who wants to get the Bitcoin. Now, surprisingly, not a lot of people are participating in this market and a lot of people are scared of it. But if you get the contacts, it's really the best method to get those huge purchases. Like I said, up to thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And one of the quickest ways that you can get started in this market is to participate in Bitcoin meetups in your area, because there's almost always at least one or two people there who are looking to do the same kind of thing and either buy or sell their Bitcoin. You can check some of the links for more information about Bitcoin and events and meetups near you. Like there's meetups and events listed in bitcoin.com, Bitcoin Wiki meetups, those types of places. Your next option is to buy Bitcoin from a store. And yes, that can be done. In some countries, there are physical stores where you can actually go and buy non-KYC Bitcoins. Now, in most cases, these stores work just like any other regular office place, but you go in there and you get the information you need to actually make these exchanges. Some of the Bitcoins that stores that operate online are things like Bitcoin Store in Croatia, BitIt in Paris, and LibertyX in the USA. Next, and an exciting way to do this is to mine your own Bitcoin, because KYC home mining is really an accessible method for most people to get completely anonymous Bitcoins. In this day and age, almost anyone can go out there and get graphic cards and go online to learn how to build your own mining rig if you really want to. It takes a little bit of technical savvy, obviously, to do that. But underground secondhand dedicated Bitcoin ASIC mining hardware is also a huge marketplace, so it's easy to get equipment. Mining is such a crucial piece to the network security of a lot of different coins. So therefore, by default, you're becoming a vital part of that cryptocurrency infrastructure and that growing network effect. Also, as a bonus side effect, if you're living in a colder country, these mines take a lot of electricity and generate a lot of heat. So the machines are actually being used to heat your home as they're generating these Bitcoins. Secondhand mining hardware marketplaces are the most active on various Telegram groups that I'll put in the links. But there's Hardware Market Channel, there's Hardware Market, Miner Speak are just a few, and we'll add those lists to the description. You can also use online peer-to-peer exchanges, and these are some of the best options for larger purchases next to doing it face-to-face. In a lot of ways, they work similar to a face-to-face transaction, and your communication, your social skills can have a positive effect on your end outcome, but it's not necessarily as required because you're operating within these communities. These P2P exchanges also have a lot of variety for different payment methods. They can opt to send you only gift cards or wire transfers or cash by mail deliveries, and so many more options depending on what your privacy requirements are. Here are a couple of quick links for the popular exchanges. There's Bisq, Agoridesk, HODL, BitValve, and WazerX. We'll try to add some links into the description as well. Another really valid option is to use a cryptocurrency voucher. And these are really highly convenient because they're fast and easy just to buy these vouchers. And they're really simple little readable cards, which you purchase either offline, depending on the country you're in, or you can buy them online. And they can really be an easy and quick way to get your hands on some anonymous coins directly in your own wallet of choice. And some countries actually have these huge Bitcoin voucher networks that operate in a very similar fashion to the Bitcoin ATMs. Whereas in other places, you can walk into a store like we talked about earlier and just purchase them right off the shelves. Some of those Bitcoin providers that are out there include BitIt, which we talked about earlier, CoinMe, BitNova, and Mmoga. It's also possible to get anonymous prepaid cards. And that's one way to stay anonymous is to get these prepaid cards. So you can get at any supermarket, convenience store, or you can buy them online. You can then use this card to buy Bitcoins through various places that offer small purchases without the need to supply any type of identification at all. Normally with these types of transactions and using these gift cards, you're limited to about 300 euros or $350 per purchase. So they're really only for small amounts of Bitcoin. But if you want some Bitcoin in a hurry, they are a good option. You've also got to make sure that the prepaid card allows cryptocurrency buying for that to work. Some cards may actually block those types of transactions. Some of the examples of instant swap exchanges for these prepaid cards include Change Hero, Change Now, and CoinSwitch. The next, and a really popular one that's growing for getting anonymous cryptocurrencies, is to sell goods on the open peer-to-peer marketplace. And that's a great way to get started with some additional non-KYC Bitcoin and get those into your wallet. You can either get rid of stuff that you already own, or some people are actually making entire businesses as a side hustle by selling different materials on these open markets. Probably the best example is the current cryptocurrency exchange NFT scene, where lots of people are creating artwork with limited editions to sell on the open market. And they're selling these with Bitcoin and Ethereum and these other coins. A few of the most well-known peer-to-peer marketplaces for cryptocurrencies are OpenSea, OpenBazaar, and Bitify. Next, one of my favorite ways to get them is to get paid with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies for your services. And that way you're actually earning cryptocurrencies anonymously through your work. And this is really the same as you can work for cash anywhere under the table, anywhere in the world. This would work the same way. Most of the Bitcoins that I have been paid for me through services that I've done. Although that hasn't been under the table, I have done those all above board. In the case of Bitcoin, though, usually the business is done online, and there are various service and coding related to jobs that people need to get done. But of course, nothing is stopping you from making any type of deals, whether online or offline. I know people who pay their rent in cryptocurrency, or they'll do plumbing and get paid by Bitcoin. So there's so many things you can do. Anything that you can do now, you can do and get paid with Bitcoin instead. And technically those transfers are completely anonymous because nobody knows that they're sending to you. There's no KYC involved. And there's thousands of these made around the world all the time. And I think it's one of the fastest growing markets for Bitcoin. And there's a bunch of job boards now coming up that are specific to cryptocurrency gigs like Crypto Grind and Coinology, BitGigs, CanWork, Freelance for Coins, and Working for Bitcoins. So there's plenty of options that are specifically for working for Bitcoin. But like I said, you can negotiate this with absolutely anybody. And it's definitely my favorite way to get Bitcoin. Now, once you have your Bitcoin and you've gotten it anonymously, you obviously have to keep it that way. And there are certain steps that you have to take to actually keep them anonymous. And we're going to discuss that in another video. But in the meantime, let me know in the comments below if you've ever purchased private Bitcoins that are non-KYC, and the method that you actually use to do it, obviously without giving us too much detail. Also let you know of other ways of getting cryptocurrency without KYC and doing it privately if it's something that we haven't mentioned in this video. Because really, as the world governments clamp down more and more on us with new social credit systems in place, new medical procedure passports that are popping up all over the world, and so much more, obtaining these private coins is no longer an option. It's now becoming a critical means of survival for the new world that we're heading into. And for more information on cryptocurrency and other tactics for finding more freedom and liberty in this unfree world, check out the video that you see on the screen right now. I'm your host, Glenn Kowalski from Renegade News, and I'll see you over there.